far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax.
And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted Lorax away. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away.
What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows.
You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He stays in his lurkin cold under the floor, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered muff.
And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells you how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay.
On the end of a rope, he let down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail.
Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his groverless glove.
Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slap!
Then the slaps of the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose.
Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away.
It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days where grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of swarmy swans rang out in space.
One morning I came to this glorious place. At first I saw the trees, the truffle trees, the bright colored tufts of truffle trees, and mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze.
And under the trees I saw brown barrel-oots frisking about in their barrel-oot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffle roots. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of humming fish humming while splashing around.
But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for the trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk.
I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had to build a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop.
And with a great skillful skill and with a great speedy speed, I took the soft tooth and knitted with need. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man.
Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mothy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy.
Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongue. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs.
He was very upset when he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made of my truffle tuft?
Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a need to find something that all people need.
It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or cover for bicycle seats.
The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool the need."
But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the sneet I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98.
I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You never can tell what someone will buy.
I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radiophone. I put in a quick call.
I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch."
And in no time at all, the factory I built, the whole Oncer family was working in it. We were all knitting the threads, just as buzzy bees to the sound of the chopping truffle trees.
Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow! Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees in one smacker.
We were making seeds 4 times as fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door.
He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barrel roots who played in the shade with their barbell suits and happily lived eating truffle fruits.
Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not truffula fruits to go round. And my poor Barbara loots are all getting their crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies.
They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and sent them away.
I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must go regardless of crummies and tummies, you know.
I meant no harm, I most truly did not. But I had to grow big, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads.
I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. As the needs are shipped out, I was shipping them forth. To the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more threes. I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes.
I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He snargled. He sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a cruffless croak. Onceler, you're making such smuggless smoke.
My poor Sami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, says the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I am sending them off. Where will they go? I hopefully don't know.
They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about the gluppity glup.
Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup and sloopity sloop. And what do you do with the leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old man, you.
You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary. in search of some water that isn't so smeary.
And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do.
And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into needs, which everyone needs.
And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack from outside the fields. Came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all.
No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone all waved me my goodbye, then jumped into my cars and drove away in the smoke-staggered stars.
All that was left beneath the black-smelling sky was my empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants.
And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace.
And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess.
That was long, long ago, but each day since I've sat here and worried away through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart.
But now, says the Onceler, that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems pretty clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
So, catch, called the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs.
Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all his friends may come back.